can do this. Just go one step at a time. Just get to that bush and then to the next. In March of 2009, I ran my first ever half marathon in Kyoto, Japan. Kind of an interesting place to start a running career, isn't it? I didn't even live in Kyoto, I lived in Tokyo. When I moved to Japan, I wanted to stay in shape. In America, I taught a group fitness class called Turbo Kick. Now that I was in Japan, however, I found this thing called a language barrier that prevented me from teaching it like I used to. So after careful consideration, I decided to set a new goal for myself. I was able to run 3 miles, so why not run a half marathon? So I did just that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not different from 90% of the population. I hated running. I thought the people who said they liked running were liars. I mean, I had ran 3 miles time and time again in the Marine Corps, and it wasn't fun any of those times. However, I did want to stay in good shape, and I did like to challenge myself. I downloaded a training guide from online and started running. I began running 3-mile runs during the week and a long-distance 5-mile run on the weekend. Honestly, I enjoyed it. It gave me such a great experience. I would try all these different paths from my house. I got to experience and have ownership of my suburb, Higashimurayama. I would run past the cherry blossoms with their soft scent and pink and white hues. I would run past Japanese students in their uniforms walking to school. And sometimes, on an exceptionally clear day, I could see Mount Fuji off in the horizon. It was a magnificent experience. My favorite place to go running was along a riverbed. It was practically empty. The only time it ever got full was during the rainy season. This riverbed went on for miles, so I picked it as my run path frequently. I would run and listen to music and observe people. As I started to run the long distances, I found that running got easier and, like I said, it got enjoyable. I became one of those people that I thought were liars. I would get into this zone where I would be almost out of my body and in my head, thinking, dreaming, observing, and contemplating. It was great me time. The half marathon itself was quite the experience, and not just because of the run. I had decided for some crazy reason that I would take an overnight bus to Kyoto, go run, and then go sightsee around the historical town. I slept on a bus before the hardest race of my life. I don't know what I was thinking. I slept pretty well, actually, and sauntered over to the race. The race itself was a whirlwind of emotions for me. I got excited from everybody else being out there, and I started running faster than I normally run. I'm going, and all of a sudden, pink top flies by. Keep running. A purple skirt whizzes past me. A bunch of girls were running past me. This was crazy to me because these girls were tiny. Tiny, but fast. I brushed off my competitive side, and I kept running and focused on myself. After the excitement wore off, I got into that zone where I was just in my head. I was probably smiling during the run. Unfortunately, that only lasted till the 7th mile. Then it started to get challenging. By the 10th mile, it was all heart. I got to the point where I just wanted to quit, jump in a bush, and hide until everyone else had left. It was hard. At that time, I decided to just put one foot in front of the other and take it one step at a time. I feel that this story isn't complete without a sidebar note about my husband. You see, I had half-heartedly convinced my husband to do the race as well. He trained about a third of the amount of time as I did. As a matter of fact, the longest distance that he ran before the race was 8 miles, which is 5 miles less than a full half marathon. But my husband is very competitive. And when the race started, he took off like a bullet and flew past me. The path that we run on goes back and forth, so I saw him a couple times. He went from determined to exhausted. He ended up finishing 20 minutes before me, which I'm a little jealous about. I mean, he didn't train like I did, but he did so well. He told me later that it was the hardest thing he's done in his life. To this day, I still train for half marathons, and I experience the same things each time. Learning my neighborhood, seeing the sights, and taking it one step at a time. Thank you.